My name is Elkrief, and today I'd like to talk to you about the effects of discovering that your emotions are created by thoughts. So in the last 6 videos, we went over 6 different ways to discover that your emotions are created by thoughts and not by circumstances. But before we get into questioning these thoughts and discovering that they're not true, I'd just like to stop here for a moment and talk about the effects that occur in our emotional experience when we recognize that our unwanted emotion has been created by a thought. So, a lot of times when we experience some sort of suffering, whether that be sadness, unhappiness, disappointment, something like that, we tend to blame it on others, right? We think they did something to me. They are to blame for my suffering. And then we experience anger towards the people in our life, right? We may experience anger towards our partner, towards our boss, towards our parents, towards anybody. When we blame anyone else for our emotional experience, we experience anger, or maybe resentment, or maybe just judgment. But when we discover that all of these unwanted emotions are just created by thoughts, all of a sudden we stop feeling anger towards others. We no longer have to blame them for our suffering. And that's a load off of our chest. It really releases a lot of the tension in our bodies, and it allows us to act more with love, or to at least feel more love towards the people who we once felt resentment for. And it can also stop us from acting hurtfully towards others, right, in hopes of revenge or something like that. Another effect of discovering that your emotions are created by thoughts is that you no longer have to feel powerless over your emotions. Generally, we go through life feeling like our emotions are inflicted on us without our control, right? Since we don't control a lot of the circumstances that happen in our lives, we don't control what other people do, it seems as though we don't control the emotions that seem to be a result of these things. For example, we may get hit by a car, and then we experience sadness and suffering, and we think, why did I have to experience this? As if, we're helpless and powerless in this situation, and we have to suffer. But when you discover that your sadness or suffering is just created by thoughts, then all of a sudden you're no longer powerless. You're no longer helpless. Now there's something you can do about it. You're no longer at the mercy of these external circumstances. And that can be liberating. That can be, give you a little bit of a sense of control, at least a little bit. And then the last way that I'm going to talk about in this video is that you no longer have to fear what others will do. Let me just clarify that a little bit. Basically, we often go through life in fear of what others will do because we think others can hurt us or make us feel bad. So for example, we might be afraid to love because we're afraid of getting rejected and feeling hurt. We're afraid to do what we want because we're afraid people won't like us for who we are. We're afraid to pursue one of our goals because we're afraid of failure. But when we recognize that nobody else can hurt us, that our emotions are only created by thoughts, that failure can't create suffering, that only our thoughts can, then all of a sudden there's nothing to fear. You don't have to fear what others will do. You don't have to fear failure, because those things don't create suffering. Only our thoughts do. And once again, that is very freeing. That is very enjoyable. It's a much more enjoyable way to live life. So I hope you experience some of these effects from discovering that your emotions are created by thoughts. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.